Okay, so you are ready to get your business accounting going, and you finally selected a software that you want to use to keep track of your business's bookkeeping, basically its accounting system, and you decided you want to use Wave. You're in the right spot because I'm going to help you go through the sign up process right now in a quick, easy to understand way. Or maybe you're just curious about Wave and you want to see what it's like to sign up for and navigate Wave's dashboard system. And I'm happy to help create that clarity for you so that if you're curious about Wave and you're deciding whether to do this or QuickBooks or some other app, you'll be better equipped to make that decision because you've seen it for yourself. For those of you who are new here, my name is Andrew Bloom. I am the owner and main operator of Profit Logic, a small accounting firm that provides bookkeeping and accounting services for small businesses and solopreneurs. I'm also a PhD student in business with a concentration in accounting. All right, by the end of this video, you're gonna go through the whole setup process in Wave and basically be able to do the main couple of tasks that will get you started with making sure your account system is ready to go and you can start keeping track of all the transactions that occur throughout your business using this very simple platform. All right, let's jump on the screen and dive right in. So on Wave's homepage, we have the option to either sign in, get started for free, or maybe you'll see a button that says sign into your account. You're basically going to click on one of these buttons that lets you sign up, and you can either enter in just your normal email, create a password, and get started, or you can use your Google account to sign up. So once you use your email to sign up, you're going to be taken to this page where they're going to ask a couple questions about your business and yourself. And I recommend that if you're not the owner of the business who's creating this account, to use their information with their permission, of course. Here they're asking for a first name. And for this tutorial, I'm going to make up a fictional business. We'll call it Bright Consulting. And it's asking what your business does. Basically, get as close as you can to whatever your industry is. For a consultation business, I think we're going to go ahead and do executive coaching. And then this is probably one of the more important questions on the screen. They're going to ask what your legal structure of your business is. For that, if you're not already registered as a business, let's say you're just putting together your accounting before you've actually created your LLC or your S Corp, what have you, just put sole proprietorship. Otherwise, put in the kind of business you are. We're going to say that this is an LLC, and we'll say that's a single member LLC. And if you don't know, they might have a few options for you to click that you're not sure. So once that's done, click next. And next, they're going to want to know a little bit more information about the business. So they're asking, what year did you start? We'll say it started 2025. How many customers we have? We'll say there's 6 to 10. And it'll ask if you accept payments online. And the reason why they're asking a lot of these questions is because they're going to want to be able to curate their services towards you. So with the number of customers you have, they're going to probably recommend, if you have more, that you should use their invoicing system. Same thing with payments. They're going to want to recommend using their payment system, which both of these services I personally use and I would recommend. It's nice having your point of payment, if you're a service business, if you're running a lot of invoices, to just be completely integrated and in the same place as your accounting system. So we'll put not yet, but I want to start. And it's asking if you've ever used a paid software to help with your bookkeeping. They're basically asking about their competitors. We'll just say we've used QuickBooks before. So after that, they have a couple doggles here, wondering basically what kind of services you'll want to have available on your dashboard. For this, we'll just put not sure yet. Okay, the next step is that they're going to ask if you want to use their basic free starter plan or their pro plan. Now, if you are here because you just want to explore and see what Wave is like, I recommend just signing up with their starter plan to get a little feel for it. However, you're not going to be able to access the same level of features as you would with the Pro plan. And if you are planning on using Wave as your business's accounting software, I highly recommend that you use their Pro plan. Pay for the $16 a month, which arguably for bookkeeping software, if you compare it to like QuickBooks, if you're getting into very complex services, can easily be $80 to $100 a month. So for small service businesses like yourself, this is a really good deal. And it allows you to basically by the cloud import your transactions from your different banks, from your business credit cards. You can also accept payments and set up reoccurring payments with certain customers. You can also add users to your account. So if you have a bookkeeper like myself or a CPA, someone who does your taxes, and you want to just give them full reign to be able to view your transactions, you can do that with the Pro plan. I highly recommend it. I'm not an affiliate of Wave, so I'm not making money trying to make this recommendation. I'm just telling you what has worked best for my clients, specifically those who are consultants and only run invoices. They're not selling any inventory. Wave is definitely the more accessible platform than QuickBooks. So we're going to continue with the starter since this is just a demo. We're making a demo account. They're going to ask for you to verify your email. And once that's done, it's going to take you to the dashboard. And the first thing you're going to see here is that they're giving you a list of tasks to complete in order to set up your books. And for the most part, this is the recommended way to go. Just follow each task one by one and it'll guide you through. Although not all businesses need the same thing, so there are certain tasks that you may not need to do at all. Or if you're just coming in with a brand new business that you can't do because if you don't have customers yet, you don't need to add customers, for example. Getting started, I would recommend, as long as you're using Pro, you do want to connect your bank account. This is going to get all of your information into Wave. And for that, I'll just show you what it's going to look like. Here you need to be on a Pro plan. I'm going to show you my personal account so that you can see what it looks like to have your accounts connected. So here, when you go to banking and you click on connected accounts, your cards or your bank accounts are going to show up here, and you can connect more accounts by basically putting in your bank. Let's say you have Chase, and then it'll use Plaid or another system to basically get your sign-in information in there fast. And then once they're connected, you're going to make sure that each account automatically being imported into Wave. If this is not turned on, then you're not going to see any of your transactions, and that will be a bookkeeping mess. Here, I'll show you on transactions. Everything's going to come in automatically, and the system's going to try to automatically categorize things for you. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it is very wrong. So you'll want to be sure to review everything that's coming through. Now, that's just what having your bank account connected looks like. Once your bank account is connected, do not just jump into trying to categorize and deal with your transactions. You want to make sure everything else is set up correctly first. The second step you should take is to basically set up your chart of accounts. And if you don't know what a chart of accounts is, go over to accounting, chart of accounts. Basically, every transaction your business has, when it buys supplies or when it pays for software or it makes a sale to a client through an invoice, everything that occurs has its special little category. And all these categories are considered the accounts of the business. Some of them are physical accounts. For example, under assets, you have like cash on hand, and you'll have, when you have your banks connected, those are physical accounts where money is being held, or you have credit at a credit card company. But the other kinds of accounts are kind of imaginary. They're just a way of categorizing this information. For example, if you go to expenses, you have accounts such as your computer hardware for maybe the computer you purchase for your business or the software. They're just little categories where we keep track of what was spent, kind of similar to like a budget where money gets accounted for in the more detailed ways it moves about in your business. So your chart of accounts is going to look different based on what kind of industry you're in. And luckily, Wave has some pretty decent automatic accounts that are already listed, but for the most part, you're going to have to enter a lot of these on your own. And that's something that a bookkeeper can help you with. You could probably also do a little Google search, talk to a little ChatGPT to find out the appropriate chart of accounts for your industry. So for something like a consulting firm, you might want to make more detailed accounts, for instance, under expenses. If you are going to a lot of conferences to network and talk with future clients, you might want to edit this education and training account or add a new account under your expense type. It's an operating expense. Maybe it can just be for table fees. Basically, if there's anything you want to specifically track, you can make an account for. And you'll notice when we go to income, when Wave asked about your industry, when you're signing up, here it automatically added some income accounts that make sense for your industry and your business. So here we see coaching and consulting income. If these are things that your business doesn't actually do, you can delete these accounts. For instance, maybe we don't do training, then we can archive the account and prevent from further usage of this account and save it that way. So now it's not going to be in the chart of accounts. So again, you'll probably want to do a little research on what's the appropriate chart of accounts for your business and industry. You can also consult with a bookkeeper like myself. I do offer consulting sessions if you want to just go over what would be the appropriate chart of accounts for your very specific business, and if there's any special forms of income or expenses that you want to track, how we can set that up to be mirrored in your bookkeeping. In the chart of accounts, I'll quickly add that you'll see there's these different main categories. You have your assets, which is basically everything your company owns. This gives your company value. It could be machinery, it could be your computer even. It's also, and you're going to find this common with consultants who do a lot of invoicing, businesses that do a lot of invoicing, it's also your accounts receivable, the money that is owed to you. That gives your business value even if you don't have the cash yet. And that gets tracked in accounts receivable when the invoices go out. And as they're paid, that money is moved from accounts receivable into your cash in the bank, for instance, if that's where it goes. Next category is liabilities and credit cards. This is everything your company owes to other people. So if you have a bank loan, you're going to have it listed under your loan and line of credit. When we're doing bookkeeping, we're not just tracking your income and expenses. We're tracking everywhere your money is going out or it's coming from. So liabilities are the things you owe to other people. If you're collecting sales tax, you need to keep track of that amount. And for instance, here in this category of sales tax, to be able to pay to your state government. Same thing for payroll. Now going over to income, it's a little different than an asset. For instance, income is basically the categories for when you have money coming in for services you render, for products you sell. You get to designate what kind of income that is. This is also where you might be tracking discounts or other types of income if your business makes interest money off of any loans it makes or the money that sits in the bank account. That's going to be tracked here. Next, you have expenses. This is everything your business spends money on in order to conduct business as usual. And so here you'll see things like accounting fees. This could be paying your bookkeeper, advertising and promotion. This is paying to put ads out, maybe through Google, maybe Facebook. And you'll see other just very typical business expenses. And lastly, equity. This is the one that I think confuses people the most. It's just not a common, it's a term that's thrown around in different industries and it can mean slightly different things. But in the instance of accounting, equity is basically the value in your business. The fundamental equation that basically is the basis of this entire system is assets equals liabilities plus equity. So basically, assets, as we talked about earlier, is everything your business owns, including the money that's owed to it, and that amount equals your liability. So you have to pay off everyone else first, plus equity. And equity is what is the value in your business. And because this is an algebraic equation, we can move these things around. So if it's true to say that assets equals liabilities plus equity, it's also true to say that equity equals assets and liabilities, or in this case, assets minus liabilities. So equity is basically everything that's left over after you add up everything your business owns and you subtract everything it owes to everyone else. It is ultimately the value of your business. And this is kind of automatically tracked as money is moving in and out and everything's being properly categorized. But the one account that you're going to deal with a lot, and this is something I see as a mistake a lot of businesses make when they try to do their own books without accounting background, is that there's this category of owner investment and drawings. And this is you as a business owner, your personal money going in and out. So let's say when you are out and about and you buy something for your business and you put it on a personal credit card, you're going to come back to your books later and create a manual transaction, basically saying that you bought this thing for your business and the account it came out of is your own account. So it's going to be an owner investment. You just put your own money into the business and that needs to be accounted for. And then let's say you pull some money out of your business's banking account, not because it's owed to you as income, but you're just taking your own investment money back out for your own personal needs. That would be counted as an owner drawing. So that's an important category to know with equity. So that's the chart of accounts. I'm sorry, that's one of the more complicated and confusing aspects of setting up your bookkeeping software for a lot of owners because it's accounting. If you don't have a background in accounting, it's going to feel a little uncomfortable and it might feel a little complex. Again, I recommend doing your research or even consulting with a bookkeeper, or if you're there and you're ready, just handing the reins over to a bookkeeper or accountant to do these things for you. Not all of it is very intuitive. So we're going to move on. We just set up your bank connection. We went over your chart of accounts. Now we're going to go set up your invoices. So you can click on Invoices, or if you're coming straight from the dashboard with all these tasks to do, you can come down here and click on Brand Your Invoices. You'll probably want to add a logo. You can choose the accent color on the invoice. You can choose the template, contemporary, modern, or classic one. And you get to hide this footer when you use their Pro plan. And once you're done, you can basically say, looks great, let's go. And because your invoices are going to be tied to its own account in the chart of accounts, it's going to have you look at your accounts. So go ahead and just follow along with their tutorial. Here they're going to talk about income accounts. And they're going to tell you a little bit about each one that we kind of just covered in chart of accounts. Same thing with expense accounts. They're going to give you some examples. They're just trying to teach you as well. And then next, they want to have us categorize a transaction to basically get it started. We're going to X out of this. We're just going to go back to the dashboard. And the next thing you want to do is add a product or service. So we can do that here. And here on the right corner, you're going to click Add a Product or Service. And you should include any services or products you offer. For instance, maybe the consulting company offers one-on-one consulting sessions. And for that, you can include a description as well as the standard price for it. For something like this, don't worry if your rates vary. You can always, in your invoices, edit the amount. But for now, we'll just say a flat rate, 100 an hour, and maybe in the description, we'll say one-on-one at a rate of 100 an hour, just as a reminder. And it'll give you the option to sell this or buy this. Basically, the sell this button allows your product to be added to an invoice. So definitely, this is your product, this is your service, add it to the invoice. You can also buy this. So this is getting into the realm of having a product that you keep for inventory. Maybe I've already said before, I'm going to say it again here. If you are maintaining inventory, like a significant amount of inventory, and that's like the mainstay of your business, I do not recommend using Wave. I definitely recommend using QuickBooks, something way more robust that will give you such more detailed information and more accurately track your inventory. I don't think Wave is quite there yet with inventory tracking, but if you are a service business and maybe you just sell a little bit of products on the side that it's just a little retail, a consultant, and you sell little self-help books that are by other people and you just kind of have them shipped in and passing through, then sure, I think you could probably get away with keeping track of a small inventory on Wave. And then in that case, you'd want to click buy this so that you can include it on your bills that you send out to your vendors. But for now, we're just adding one service. Oops, it wants us to add an income account. So for income, as we were looking at the chart of accounts earlier, you'll select the income account that makes the most sense for this. And for this particular product, for this particular service, we're going to say consulting income and save that. And great, now we have our first service. Again, we've connected the bank accounts. We've gone over a chart of accounts. We just added some services, a service to the business. At this point, you can start moving on and looking into categorizing your transactions that have already occurred. Otherwise, if you want to get more detailed, especially if you are already invoicing customers or dealing with bills with vendors, and you're trying to get that set up here on Wave as well, your next step would be to add some customers and vendors. And for something like that, you would just go to the customer button, add a customer, you'll add their name, contact information. Same thing with vendors. Under purchases, you go to vendors, you can add a vendor. You can also import them if you're pulling in from a CSV file. And something to note, I guess the last thing you'd want to set up if you're just starting Wave from scratch, assuming you're using Wave as your payment processor, let's say you're sending out your invoices and you want to use Wave to get paid, which is something I do with my clients, you'll want to set that up. And to do that, it'll be under sales and payments, and you'll click payment setup. And here, I think you can still collect payments through Wave even if you don't use their pro plan. So we'll click get started. I'll see how far I can show you what this process looks like. They're going to want to know very similar information. If you've ever signed up for Stripe or any other payment processor, they'll basically want to know what your business is, what does it do, how does it serve. For instance, say it's single member, it'll want its address, your EIN. So basically your basic business information. Later on, it's going to ask for your details, so your address, possibly your social security number. Same thing with bank details, routing numbers, so that when you receive payments, it'll send the payment to whatever bank you connect, and you'll have to get everything verified. It's a pretty easy step-by-step process. And when that's set up, you can basically receive payments on invoices. And you can turn that on and off as you like and do that individually for each invoice. Also, if you do sell online products, like if you have a course and there's a website you have that course hosted on, you can use Wave to do a checkout and use payments through Wave that way. I haven't personally done it. If you want everything to be flowing immediately through Wave so that you can keep track of all of your transactions and trust that they're going to be accurate, that would be a good way to tie everything back to your accounting software. All right, what else? You might want to play around with the receipt section. You can scan them and upload them. Oh yeah, so another additional step you can take if you have employees and you haven't set up a payroll system for them yet, or you want to move your payroll system, Wave does payroll as well. One of my clients does use Wave Payroll. It's a pretty straightforward service. You're going to want to set up your business profile in Payroll. And this has its own setup flow. You'll basically need to add your company signatory, do authorizations to allow for direct deposit, set up your employees and your contractors. And it is a very, again, like this is why I recommend Wave, is that it is a very user-friendly software system. A lot of these things that you want to do to set up your company, you'll basically be handheld all the way through. And if you're still feeling confused along the way as you're setting up your Wave, there's this button up here that brings up a Wave guide, which can give you some information about whatever it is your page is on. It'll give you little ads or provide you a video. There's also a help button right here and a chat bot that you might be able to ask questions to, and it can help guide you in the right direction or explain something that you might not understand that's being asked of you on the page. And as far as setting up goes, I would say that's probably it for what you need to know just to get started. So just to recap, we went over setting up the actual getting the account started. We went over how to connect your bank account. We went over the chart of accounts. We also talked about setting up your first products or services, as well as customers, vendors, and your invoices. And if you need to, additionally, you can set up payroll and Wave as well, or add receipts. At this point, you should have your Wave account set up to the extent that you should be able to get going and start doing some accounting work in this software. And at this point, I'd say you can start going through your transactions and categorizing them. You can also look more into the business settings up in the right corner here, where you can make little changes, whether it's changes to the invoice settings, changes to the sales tax you need to add for the states you sell products in. You can also check out their integrations with third-party apps such as Google Sheets, or if you want to connect using Zapier, which is something I don't personally do, so I can't give you much advice there. But yeah, that's about it for setting up Wave. Thank you so much for your time and listening. I really enjoy making these videos. I geek out on bookkeeping and definitely bookkeeping software. And if you have any questions, if none of this makes sense, be sure to ask in the comments. I can see if I can answer the question or even make future videos to help guide other aspects of using Wave or understanding bookkeeping and accounting in general. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you all soon.